Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. Today we are speaking with Town Manager Michael Herbert about the upcoming special fall town meeting. Michael, welcome back to Around the Clock.
Wanda, thanks again for having me. Again, always a pleasure.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. Special town meeting coming up. It was posted with 14 articles. Can you take us through, because there have been some changes?
Absolutely. And just to let everybody know, the original date for this town meeting was going to be December 8th. And per the moderator's direction, which he's been given the authority to do that under the state legislature, he's moved it to Wednesday, December 9th at 6 p.m. So a little bit of a change from what people might have seen before. Before we get into what is on the warrant for this town meeting, I think it's important to see what's not on the warrant, which are the two building projects, the public safety building as well as the Mendez School. Those are not going to be covered on the December 9th town meeting warrant. Those are actually going to be done on January 9th. So, and that'll be that town meeting, the logistics will be a little bit different, and I'm sure we'll go into that a little bit more as we get closer to that date. But that's, now that we got that out of the way,
Yep.
I do have here our freshly printed warrant for December 9th. And
Okay.
again, we have 14 articles that are listed. Some of those are going to be pulled. I will run through those really quick, the ones that are going to be pulled.
Okay.
First is going to be Articles 7 and 8. Those are related to the Valentine property. We made the decision that really the urgency to get the barn fixed and get a holistic solution for that property didn't necessitate the urgency and the expediency with which we've moved it forward here at town meeting. So we're actually going to be withdrawing those, putting those at a later town meeting date. So I was expecting that to generate quite a bit of discussion. Hopefully by postponing that, we'll be able to get out a little bit quicker. Another one that is going to be pulled is actually the last one. It's a small amendment of the zoning bylaw that really just cleaned up part of the design review process that the planning board utilizes as they go and look at projects and evaluate projects. So those are three that will be gone. And again, bringing it down to 11 articles, and hopefully we'll be able to dispatch those relatively quickly while still allowing for full debate and discussion.
Okay. So take us through the ones that are on there,
Sure.
so people can be aware.
Yeah, and they're generally routine. So Article 1 is a transfer of our free cash that's certified by DOR each fall. We'll be doing that in line with our financial policies. So a significant amount of money, $1.4 million, 1.2, will actually be going back into the rainy day stabilization fund. And then we'll be putting in $300,000 into into our OPEB trust fund that addresses our long-term liabilities related to health insurance. And then a little over $500,000 is going to go towards our capital program, which we deferred from the May town meeting. So that is Article number 1. Article number 2 is adjustments to the current fiscal year budget, the 2021 budget. Just as a reminder, when we redid our budget back in May and June of 2020, earlier this year for 21, we were estimating significantly less state aid than what actually we ended up receiving through the legislature and the governor's process. And so what we are doing is we're actually appropriating that additional funding based, again, on our financial policies, with 70% of that revenue, which is almost $1 million, going to the school department, and then 30% being split between municipal departments. We're also seeing additional new growth, which is new tax revenue that we receive through building permits, new developments, around $400,000 over what we had budgeted. And we're actually going to put that money back into the general stabilization fund as well. So
and that's but that's free cash, right? The new growth numbers from 20 are new cash. I mean, are part of free cash.
No, they're part of our budget process.
Oh, okay.
2021. So between that and the free cash appropriation, it totals $1.6 million, which is actually $200,000 more than what we took out to balance this budget. So
nice.
Pretty happy about that. Article 3, it's a standard one we do every fall. It's setting the percentage for the senior tax exemption, which provides tax relief for qualifying seniors. We're actually going to be increasing that this year from $700 to $800. It's one of the things that we've tried to do, Yolanda, since I think 2016. It was at $500 at that point. We've tried to gradually increase it each year.
Okay, hold on, I
So
gotta mute.
Article 4 and Articles 4 and 5 are related to property tax relief for veterans. And it's asking the town to adopt certain sections of the BRAVE Act, which was passed by the legislature back in 2018. The first one provides a full tax exemption for Gold Star families. Those are families that have lost loved ones in active service in the military. The second one is actually a tax work-off program for veterans or their qualifying spouses, which provides, again, property tax relief that's similar to the senior tax work-off program that we have, where you exchange volunteer service for a reduction in your property taxes. Article 6, this is one that was a late addition to the warrant. It is a taking by eminent domain of land on East Union Street. This is actually land that was supposed to be gifted by the Fafford Corporation as part of the public safety building process, and would be the land that the public safety building is being built on. Unfortunately, Yolanda, as you well know, when the board signed the gift agreement in 2018 with Fafford, there were a number of things that the town had to do to effectuate the transfer of the deed from Fafford to the town. Unfortunately, even after completing all of the components that we were required to do, and more, I should add, Fafford still has not transferred that deed. And so obviously it's very critical for us to get that property to move forward with the public safety building. So we've been put in a position where we have to take it by eminent domain. And I'm sure we'll have a robust discussion about that. I can't really get into some of the legal strategy or some of the appraisal values and things like that at this point in time, but I'm sure it'll come up during discussion at town meeting.
Right. Okay.
So again, Articles 7 and 8 will be pulled. Moving to Article 9. Article 9 is related to 433 Chestnut Street, which is the Hall House, part of the Warren District. A couple of years ago, the town meeting authorized the board to what we say dispose of the property, which is a kind of inglorious term for saying that, transferring the property to another party. During the course of that action, it came to light that we really needed to change some of the property lines with Framingham State, who is the abutter. Also, there was an easement to Framingham State's barn, which is right outside the house, that essentially was the driveway. So we wanted to get rid of that. So Article 9 is related to changing those property lines and getting rid of that easement. Should be a rather routine article. Article 10 is another land taking by eminent domain, but this time we call it a friendly taking. This is for an easement on a piece of property off of Independence Lane. This is related to a water booster pump station, which through the comprehensive permit process of Robert Hill Way determined was necessary in order to address some of the water pressure issues that were affecting that neighborhood. And so the best place to put it was on a piece of property owned by the Homeowners Association. Unfortunately, the Homeowners Association isn't legally constituted right now. So the cleanest, quickest way to do this was to go ahead and do a taking. We've received a petition and letters of support from the neighborhood because we've been working carefully with them. And then EA Fish, who is actually the developer of Robert Hill Way, will actually be building the booster pump at their own expense and transferring that to the town.
This is a real benefit to the residents in that neighborhood because they've had water pressure issues, and to get the developer to pay for it to ease their water pressure issues is definitely a plus. So this is a good thing.
It saves us probably close to $1 million,
Right.
As costs have increased and grown.
Yep.
Article 11 is related to our stormwater bylaw, and it's amending the bylaws to allow the town to place liens on properties that have not paid their stormwater fee. I think, there's probably going to be a lot of discussion about this.
I was going to say, this
So
is one of the ones that may have some good, robust discussion, as you call it.
good, robust discussion. Personally, I think there's some things that need to be fleshed out, and hopefully we can do that before town meeting. I'll just say that since I've been here, and it's been 7 years now, I don't think we've ever foreclosed on a home based on a lien, whether it's a water sewer lien or anything of that nature.
Yeah, we try to work with people, from what I understand.
We do. It's really a last resort, and it's really, believe it or not, some homeowners actually use liens as a tax strategy. So they let the lien go to taxes, so they can write it off. Don't know if you can do that now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Article 12 is a CPC article. It is requesting appropriation of $120,000 of CPC funds to help build the Trolley Brook Trail, which is part of the Upper Charles Trail, and will connect Memorial Drive and the RTD to downtown. So looking forward to getting that started and completed. And then finally,
to have our first section of the Upper Charles Trails done here in Ashland. That'll be nice.
Exactly. So it's great because it's a standalone, it could be a standalone trail, but then it's also part of this larger network. So we're looking forward to that. And then Article 13 is another CPC article, and that's for a small appropriation of actually less than $10,000 to do some work in the town forest, some small jobs. We all know the work that they do is great, the Town Forest Committee, I should say. And this just helps help them help us, as I like to say.
Nice.
And again, Article 14 will be pulled. So that's a pretty quick and concise, at least for me, way of review of the warrant.
I think that's a great warrant. I think, a great review. I think it'll help people. And so again, reminding people, it's now Wednesday, December 9th, and it's starting at 6 instead of our usual 7.
Correct. And just in terms of logistics, the gymnasium will be set up similar to the way it was in June. So social distancing would be 2 microphones, very wide aisles, lots of ventilation. We've got some new air filtration systems that are going in there. So hopefully people will feel safe to go and participate in their local democracy.
And we'll have both the gym will be the main room, but the cafeteria for overflow. So again, if a lot of people do want to come, and I do encourage people, I know we're concerned, there's still concerns, but I think, we're going to be wearing masks. There's going to be social distancing. There's going to be all kinds of airflow. This is probably, it would be similar to going to the mall, which people are doing as well. So
it's true.
Okay, well, Michael, thank you so much for coming and taking us through these articles here for town meeting. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on around the clock, and thanks for taking the time.
All right, thanks, Yolanda. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll see you Wednesday at town meeting.